Hello, I'm Michael Elliott, and our first guest is Shawn Dubravac. Shawn is Chief Economist and Director of Research at the Consumer Electronics Association. He's also the author of Digital Destiny, a new book that made its debut at the 2015 CES. Welcome, Shawn.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here with you.
So tell us a little bit about your book.
So the book is really, in essence, the Internet of Things. It is looking at what happens when we start to deploy the Internet widely. We're moving from a period where we really were focusing on the technological capabilities of products, and now we're really starting to look at, are these products technologically meaningful? What's the use case scenarios? How does it change our lives? That's what the book focuses on. What are the implications of the Internet moving to a lot of diverse places, not just on our phones and our computers, but to all the objects around us? How does that change transportation? How does that change healthcare? How does that change the way we communicate?
So from your perspective and the perspective of CES, I mean, where do you see IoT heading in 2015?
It is going to continue to grow. We're on this evolutionary path where we're going to continue to connect more and more dots, right? We're going to connect more and more nodes. We're moving from an environment where we have about 1.7 billion PCs globally, about 2 billion smartphones globally. Now imagine what the world looks like when we start to have 40, 50, 60 billion connected objects. For the last 15 years, we've focused on connecting the devices we were using, televisions, mobile phones, cameras, MP3 players. We digitized them, we connected them, and then we added sensors onto them. Now we're doing that with the everyday objects around us.
So, I mean, it seems kind of flippant, but we know this is going to be important. How impactful is this going to be on our lives?
It is fundamentally going to change everything we do. The way we work, the way we talk, the way we live, our leisure time. I give the example in the book of Gutenberg's printing press. 1450 forever changed the way we communicated, the way we educated, the way we interacted. In that same way, I think that as we connect, we digitize, we sensorize all of these objects around us, literally digitizing our physical space, that it will have the same pronounced impact that Gutenberg's printing press did in 1450.
So as you think about the Internet of Things, what do you think are the main categories that are going to be most impacted, right now?
So right now, 2015, obviously the storyline is wearables. We're moving the Internet to a variety of products that we wear. We're seeing it show up on the wrist in terms of fitness trackers and smartwatches, but we're seeing it in a number of different ways. And again, it all goes down to what are the use case scenarios. We're going to see a tremendous amount of experimentation over the next 36 months. And that's really what CES is. It's the proving ground for all of this experimentation. Over the week of CES, 20,000 new products will launch, looking at how the Internet will impact things as mundane as, say, basketball. We're seeing basketballs with the Internet embedded in them, soccer balls, toothbrushes, propane tanks, you name it, you can connect it to the Internet, and it will change the way you use that object. But more importantly, it'll start to change and influence the way you use all of the objects around it, all that adjacent opportunity. So we're going to see it really impact every aspect of our life over time. 2015 is a story about wearables. It's a story about 3D printing. It's a story about drones. All of those are bringing the Internet to different experiences, but it's going to just continue to explode from there.
So what, in your mind, might prevent this from occurring?
Obviously, time is always a key component of adoption, so some of this just takes time. The experimentation phase that we're in over the next 3 to 5 years will be key. We're going to try the Internet in a variety of different places. Some of those will make a lot of sense. Some of those may make no sense at all, and some of them may take decades to really come to fruition. Right. So that's what we'll be looking at over the next 3 to 5 years. Certainly that's what's playing out here at CES. Companies coming to market, trying to show a useful use case scenario by bringing the Internet to whatever object they're showing.
Where does security fit into that in your
Obviously, security is of key concern. Privacy, related but also very different, is of key concern. Most of the companies here at CES that I've spoken with really recognize the data as proprietary information of the individual. They want to empower the individual to do whatever that they want to do, whatever they want to accomplish with that data. Wearables data obviously is capturing and systematically digitizing very specific proprietary individual data that is unique to us. So we are developing this Internet of Me experience where the internet starts to really be dictated by metrics that are unique to me. Companies want to empower that. They're cognizant that control, and that really is what we talk about when we're talking about privacy. We're talking about individual control. That control is paramount, and they're trying to empower the consumer.
So what advice do you have for members of the distributed computing industry for advancing IoT?
Embrace that period of experimentation, and we're seeing that. We're seeing some phenomenal innovation come to market. So take advantage of that. Sensors have moved into an environment where they're relatively inexpensive. We can deploy them widely. I think there's a lot of things that companies should be thinking about now. And, your use case scenario may seem crazy to a big group of the market, but it will be important for a small group of the market, a nascent market. And I think that's what we're also seeing, what I call this fragmentation of innovation, where we're seeing a focus on not devices owned by 98% of households, but objects owned by and used by maybe 5 or 10% of households, 20% of households, things that are relevant to a very well-defined, discrete audience.
Well, Shawn, thank you very much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it.